To see a little bit of personality on these trainers. Wolfe does not want to travel with a lot of stuff. The DS is enough. The DS is definitely enough.
Absolutely. Hopefully, he doesn't have too much weight on his shoulders going into this battle. So, he can play loose, make all the predictions he needs to make because there's just no stress. He's feeling light.
Yeah, definitely.
Wolfe definitely doesn't lack for personality. So always fun to get him out on the stage.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a great guy. And of course, both these guys, as Justin said, they are 4-1, which means that whoever does not take the win for this match has to win out in order to make it to day 2 tomorrow, where the competition is going to be even stiffer.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are two players that I think most people would have expected to make it to day 2,
yes.
right? So having that pressure on one of these players is big. Wolfe is a 2-time Masters National champion. JHu made it to the semifinals of U.S. Nationals last year, so big players here.
Definitely. And we're going to go right ahead and jump into the match, into team preview, so we can get a handle on what these trainers are bringing today. We see both trainers just intently deciding who they're going to be bringing. Like we had mentioned before, team preview and your leads are so important when you're playing a match of this caliber. You need to understand, try to predict what your opponent's going to bring and bring something accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think perhaps against no opponent is that more important than Wolfe Click. As notorious for the most part as a very defensive player, and playing against Wolfe is not like playing against anyone else. You're much more likely to play a game where 4 Pokemon on one side aren't knocked out, and it's about playing to a timer and understanding how to whittle down your opponent and kind of just gain those small advantages. So definitely if you haven't been in a match with Wolfe before, that first time is always a real surprise. And we'll have to see if JHu is ready for this one.
Absolutely. And we're going to be watching, of course, from John's perspective. Wolfe is going to lead out with the Thundurus and the Kangaskhan. As John leads out Azumarill and Lopunny, a Pokemon that we don't see very often, or that I haven't seen yet today.
Yeah, definitely not something we see too often. John did bust this out, I believe on stream, actually, in Madison when we put him on there. So John's been working with some of these Pokemon for the course of the season, and I think that's something that's always nice to see. When you get to Nationals, you've kind of kept improving, kept iterating on your team. Now he's going to have a heck of a challenge here facing down Wolfe. For Wolfe's credit, he's got a more standard-looking team here. Yep. Definitely, we've seen a few Kangaskhan and Thundurus in our day.
Definitely, only a few.
Yeah, but still, I mean, with Wolfe, it's a little bit surprising, too. These are definitely, I guess Thundurus is a defensive Pokemon, but certainly not the Pokemon you try to use to have an amazing 4-3 victory at 15 minutes. So maybe Wolfe turning on the offense a little bit.
We're going to see John taking out his Lopunny and going out into the Togekiss here, a very defensive Mon. And Wolfe is actually going to withdraw that Kangaskhan, possibly fearing being outsped by that Lopunny with a faking out. Amogus is going to come in for it. Azumarill goes for Protect, so a very safe turn on John's end. And Thundurus is going to Thunderbolt the Azumarill slot, which is going to take no damage.
Yeah, I mean, that's one struggle with this situation right now is that, Thundurus, as an Electric-type Pokemon, is now against 2 Pokemon weak to Electric-type attacks. And Azumarill, it survived for a turn here, but kind of a tricky spot. Looking like, however, Togekiss most likely not going to be knocked down by a single Thunderbolt. So Azumarill is pretty excited here. I'm most likely going to go for that Belly Drum. I don't think either of these relatively defensive Pokemon are going to be able to prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
It's going to come at a cost here. Togekiss is going to take some damage, probably get put to sleep, but the Belly Drum is open. However, it does set up for a Rage Powder Thunderbolt the next play.
Absolutely, and we're going to see a Follow Me from the Togekiss, redirecting any attacks towards it. Of course, the Taunt is going to come through to kind of stop that from happening here on out. The Togekiss is going to get taken out. The Belly Drum is going to come out from John's side. That brings Azumarill's attacks that sky high, maxed out, as you guys can see on screen, and is going to eat the Citrus Berry to restore the health, at least some of the health that he had to spend on that Belly Drum. We're going to see a Spore connect onto the Togekiss, but the Azumarill here sitting at max attack is a huge threat.
Yeah, absolutely. A Rage Powder and a Thunderbolt seems like it's likely here, but I want to draw attention to something Wolfe did that I think is very smart. This is a game 1. Wolfe doesn't know John's items yet, so it probably looks a little strange that he both taunted and spored the same Pokemon. It's like, well, why are you going to do that? Both of these things stop Togekiss from using Follow Me. In addition to getting the Spore on a switch, Safety Goggles Togekiss is not unheard of,
yes.
And that would have been a huge problem here. If he just gone for a Thunderbolt Spore, Togekiss had survived and then been immune to the Spore, Wolfe would very likely have just been hosed in this game, or he's smart enough to find a different way to shut Togekiss down, and it's a smart play by a veteran player.
Definitely, and Azumaro's going to go ahead and go for the Protect. A Thunderbolt is going to once again get blocked by that Protect. Togekiss is asleep. Wolf does not feel the need to target down a sleeping, taunted Togekiss. Spore is also, he predicted that switch, and I'm assuming there.
Yeah, another wise play by a veteran player. John on this side isn't just going to let Azumarill get blown up for free, so he protects, he burns a turn of that sleep on Togekiss, but again, we're seeing the advantage of both taunting and sporing. Now, if Togekiss wakes up, it's still not going to be able to follow me. It is taunted. So Wolf covering all of his bases here, and in spite of the power of that belly drum, Azumarill in pretty good shape, although I'm a little impressed. Okay, I was saying we see Rage Powder this time. I was surprised not to see it last turn.
You were surprised we didn't see it, but Wolf goes ahead and goes for the Rage Powder so that it can distract the Azumarill if it doesn't go down to this Thunderbolt, but it's going to live on 7 HP. 7 HP, the Togekiss, of course, is still taking a nap over on the side of the field, and a return is going to come through and really destroy that Amoonguss. The Rocky Helmet, though, is going to take the Azumarill out.
Yeah, poor Azumarill, fancy hero there. Gets the knockout, but it comes at a cost. That Rocky Helmet showing its value. Normally something just irritates Kangaskhan, but poor Azumarill, he just barely survived. It's probably like, great, this is my battle. I'm going to get to do this. And
he just wanted to show off his high attack stat, but unfortunately it doesn't happen when the Rocky Helmet comes through. Excadrill's going to land on John's side of the field as Landorus comes out, getting an Intimidate off. Well-timed Landorus. Pretty lucky that the Excadrill came out at that point, reducing its attack stat.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see this Excadrill, and we just see the Mold Breaker. Okay, we're seeing a classic combination here. This is a duo that made it to the top 4 of U.S. Nationals in 2013. It's piloted by Randy Quah, something he'd kind of used all year and kind of iterated on. So John Hu gets some of his own tricks with the low pony Azumarill thing and bringing back an old favorite as well.
Absolutely, we're going to see Landorus go for the Earthquake. Only going to hit the Excadrill, but it's going to hit the Excadrill hard. We're going to see it live on 1 HP with a Focus Sash. Not going to be going down just yet. Excadrill's going to go for the Rock Slide. It is at -1, but it'll still do some damage to that Thundurus. Landorus is going to take it a bit better than its Genie brother over there. Thundurus is going to go ahead and hit the Togekiss with a Thunderbolt, bringing it down to 95 HP. Togekiss is going to wake up and get an Air Slash off on that Landorus, but that is that's a good turn for Wolf, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. He gets to learn about the Focus Sash and Excadrill without really losing anything for it. That's big information. Excadrill often, when Randy used it, it could either have a variety of items like Ground Gem, which doesn't exist anymore, and Life Orb were also possibilities, and Choice Band actually too, so good information.
Definitely. We're going to see a pretty slow turn, but a pretty good turn for Wolf. Excadrill's going to go down to that Earthquake. Togekiss is protecting itself, so nothing else is really going to happen on this turn. But Wolf looking really good here, getting the first knockout. Thunderbolt, of course, going to get protected, and John has to send in a new Pokemon here.
Yeah, absolutely. Big advantage for Wolf now. Togekiss getting weakened. Wolf's Mega is still safe in the back.
Yes.
It's hanging out, waiting for its turn. And, gee, it's tough to see how John's going to dig his way out of this one. But, I mean, there's still time. John's own Mega is still here. We haven't seen it do anything yet, so it could be a bunch of tricks. But, Togekiss really going to struggle with this Thundurus. Landorus very likely to be holding a Choice Scarf here, so it's not going to be able to do much to Togekiss, but still great positioning for Wolf.
Definitely, and like you said, if that Landorus is indeed Choice Scarf, although the Lopunny does have the ability to fake out and make it flinch and kind of slow it down for a turn, it's only a turn. We're going to see Wolf actually withdraw that Landorus, probably wanting to get a free Intimidate off on that Lopunny since it's John's down to his last 2 Pokemon. Kangaskhan is going to come in, that safe Mega who has yet to Mega Evolve, switching it in to a spot that Wolf probably feels is not going to get targeted down by a fighting-type move thanks to Landorus' flying type, but we're going to see exactly what happens here. Thundurus is going to protect, playing it safe. I believe that's the first time Thundurus actually protected, and a Fake-Out is going to go on the Thundurus, trying to preserve that Togekiss not getting any damage. It's going to get a little damage off on that Kangaskhan. Actually a sizable amount because it's not Mega.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad chunk there. I mean, Togekiss actually, a somewhat underestimated offensive Pokemon, actually has a great special attack stat. It's just a Pokemon that's kind of built around defense, so typically players don't train in it to increase it any more than that. But Togekiss, not so bad. It's got those stats.
Yeah, it's not a bad Pokemon at all. Of course, now that Kangaskhan came in after Lopunny already used its Fake Out, if Wolf's Kangaskhan is carrying Fake Out, it's going to be able to get that off before the Lopunny.
Yeah, absolutely. Wolf in a pretty nice advantage here, but instead just switching, letting Landorus use a different move this time.
He's just dangling the Kangaskhan in front of John and taking it right back. Like, oh my goodness. No shame. Getting the Intimidate off, though, of course, making sure as little damage as possible can come from that Lopunny. Togekiss is going to go for Protect, fearing a Thunderbolt from the Thundurus. We're going to see if that's exactly what Wolf did. Lopunny's going to go for the Teeter Dance, confusing both of Wolf's Pokemon, and this is going to turn into a game of secondaries. Can Wolf's Pokemon break through some confusion? We're going to see Landers and Thunders both take those spinning birds above their head. Thunder's just going to go for the Thunderbolt. Togekiss protects itself.
Yeah, wow, what a John Who strategy. Some of you may remember last year in the top 4, he had that Confused Ray Sableye, and he's upgraded. He's like, confusing one Pokemon is not enough. I need 2.
No, definitely. Teeter Dance is not a move that you see too often, I feel like, but when you do see it, confusing every Pokemon in the field, timing it well, making sure you protect your Pokemon, it can really mess up your opponent's groove.
Yeah, because you're not used to dealing with it too, you don't have a plan, right?
Absolutely, but Thunders is going to break through said confusion, go for the superpower, and take out the Lopunny in one hit. Oh my goodness, that is a knockout that is pretty much going to secure Wolf's side of the field as a pretty locked-in game up. Of course, we still got this confusion going on. Thunders is confused. It's going to hit itself, and not being able to get that Thunderbolt off. We're going to see Togekiss go for the Air Slash, targeting down the Landers, but it's not going to be enough. It's just not enough to pick up the KO.
Now, I guess Wolf's strategy for dealing with Teeter Dance was to train his Pokemon with Trust and Love. Landorus managing to attack through that confusion, and he's pretty safe now, I think.
Yeah, he's going to withdraw that Landers, just not wanting to let it drop to the Togekiss if the Thunders does, in fact, stay a little confused. Maybe, I don't know, Wolf didn't love the Thunders just enough to break through that confusion, but it does. It snaps out, and it's going to get the Thunderbolt off, knocking out that Togekiss, so the first game is going to be in Wolf's favor.
Yeah, that's a tough break for John there. Wolf played a really great game. He always seemed to have an answer. You know, when that Azumarill got set up, it didn't really get much done.
Yeah.
Other than that, there weren't any knockouts. So Wolf probably feeling pretty comfortable there, especially because he got to see John's tricks and dealt with them on the first try.
Yeah.
I feel like John Who is kind of one of those players where in the first game of a best of 3, you're in a very difficult position. I use a lot of tactics that players aren't used to dealing with. Like the, I guess, Azumarill period we haven't seen very much of since last season. You know, Teeter Dance, like, is Teeter Dance even a real move? Like, is this... What
it's just for today. It's just for today.
Yeah, he actually invented this move. He was teaching, like I saw in the hallway, he was teaching his Pokemon how to use this move he thought of.
I was wondering why John was spinning in circles in the hallway, but it makes perfect sense now.
Exactly.
Absolutely perfect sense. Like we were talking about before, the items, being able to figure out, Wolf got a lot of information from there. He saw the Focus Sash on the Excadrill. He got to see John's tricks. So like you said, it's going to be a pretty tough game too, but these are both trainers that are here for a reason. So I don't want to count John out just yet.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't either. And I kind of really love the juxtaposition of the two teams, where you've got Wolf, like this very standard, very defensive, very safe team. You know, one of the more defensive players, and you know, on John's side, we've got something very much in another direction.
Yes, something unique, something crazy, something to kind of inspire. So we're going to jump into this match right now. I believe we're going to be seeing them. I wonder, you know, Game 2 is always interesting. I don't think it's soon enough to be able to pick your team very fast. I think Game 3 is more like you've got a lot of information, but I don't think they have enough information to kind of choose their team on a whim.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in particular, John has to be very careful here. Part of the difficulty of running a team as tricky as his is that you know, it's easy to lose games very hard if you make a misplay early, and he can't afford that now.
No, he definitely cannot, because like we said, and we can't state it enough, one of these players is going to have 2 losses, which means they will have to win out for the rest of today in order to make it to tomorrow, in order to have a chance at winning an invite to Worlds. So we're going to see Kangaskhan and Thundurus come out for Wolf, of course, and the Gengar, who we did not see on John's side of the field with the Lopunny.
Absolutely. I think this is really scary if you're Wolf, especially not having seen Gengar before.
Yes.
I think there's definitely a non-zero chance that this is a Mega Gengar, and Lopunny will just choose not to Mega Evolve.
Yeah.
That would be my expectation if I was Wolf. So he's got to play this one pretty carefully. Kangaskhan doesn't deal with Mega Gengar very well at all, and Wolf himself has actually won a regional this year with Mega Gengar. So I guess if anyone should know how to deal with this, it should be him, right?
Definitely, it should be, but like you said, it's a scary spot to be in. Gengar is just one of those Pokemon that is fast, and it can do a few different things. Gengar has a lot of variety in this format, without a doubt. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what John's going to be doing with it. We're going to see Wolf withdraw the Kangaskhan, not wanting to potentially get burned, and Amoonguss is going to come out for the Kangaskhan. The Mega Gengar is here. We're going to see some shiny teeth on the field. Look at that thing. It is so beautiful. I love Mega Gengar. It's fantastic. Such a fantastic Pokemon. Thundurus is going to go for Protect, so Wolf taking a very, very, very safe turn here, just switching in one of his bulkier Mons. Lopunny is going to go for the Fake Out, but Thundurus is going to protect himself. Gengar goes for a Substitute, and that is terrifying. When you see a Gengar get behind a doll, you better run.
Yeah, absolutely, but you can't, because
you can't run, because then you lose, so it's just not an option.
Yeah, absolutely. So tough spot for Wolf here. A really great lead by John. I think that, you know, with Wolf, he realizes he can't let his Kangaskhan get caught in with probably a Mega Gengar.
Yes.
Has to switch to something. Probably, if Amoonguss is the Pokemon that came in, I wonder if he what he had for options here. But Gengar at least gets a substitute before the taunt.
And we're going to see, now that he knows that Lopunny can carry that Teeter Dance, he does go for the taunt right away. Icy Wind is going to connect on both of Wolfe's Pokemon here, doing a decent amount of damage for a non-same type attack bonus move. Like, it's not getting any stab bonus, but it's still doing a good amount. Lopunny can't Encore after the taunt, and we see the Spore connect onto the Lopunny, so that was a huge taunt there.
Yeah, absolutely. A big play by Wolfe. I'm sure you would much prefer to have a taunt on that Gengar instead and not have to worry about that big substitute, but it does put him in a much better position here. Lopunny's not going to be doing too much for the rest of the battle, probably, with that Spore hitting it after it attacks.
Yeah.
So at least 2 more turns before we'll be seeing it attacking. I wouldn't be too surprised to see that.
Gengar's actually running Protect as well, going to protect its substitute, making sure that it's here. I think that John just kind of wants to burn this turn of sleep here. Lopunny's going to stay asleep, but that's the one guaranteed turn. Lopunny can wake up at any point from here. Amoonguss is going to go ahead and target down that slot with a Spore, predicting a switch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's not too much less for Amoonguss to do other than trying to Spore the Gengar if he wants to try to get Thundurus to Thunderbolt it. But if he wants that taunt first, Amoonguss just kind of hanging out.
Yep, no, definitely. We're going to see Gengar opt to go for the Shadow Ball, targeting down the Thundurus. It's going to do a lot of damage, but not enough because Thundurus just has that natural defense that's so beautiful, makes it such a viable Pokemon. It's going to eat that Citrus Berry, gaining its health back. Lopunny's going to wake up on a turn 2, go for a Drain Punch onto the Thundurus. It's resisted, so it's not going to do too much, but it's still damage that I don't think Wolfe wanted to see just yet. A Thunderbolt's going to connect and take out this substitute, is going to go down here. And are we going to see the Spore connect onto the Gengar? We're going to see the Spore, and it's going to target down the Gengar. So that thing is asleep.
So this time we do see that play, right? It's kind of the mind game on both sides. Is Gengar going to attack expecting a Thunderbolt and a Spore, or is it going to expect a taunt and not have to worry about getting the substitute up and be able to attack? John kind of plays it backwards there, where he played. I guess he didn't. He played it conservatively, but the turn he needed to substitute, he did not. And Gengar is sleeping for it. However, Wolfe's still kind of in a tough spot here. Lopunny's not doing much, and we're going to see the switch here. So John can actually bring something out to try to get some knockouts, take advantage of the Shadow Tag.
Absolutely. We're going to see that John does bring in the Togekiss. Thundurus is going to go for a taunt on the Togekiss, making sure that it can't do any funny business. But the Air Slash, of course, is kind of threatening to the Amoonguss, even though Amoonguss is a very defensive mon. It's still super defensive. But the Spore is going to come through on that Togekiss. So John's sitting here with 2 Pokemon taking a nap, and Wolfe's feeling pretty comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a very Wolfe match, right? He's not really using attacking moves.
Nope.
He's taunting, he's sporing, he's getting better position on the board. This is kind of the battle that Wolfe had to commit to, though. With having to switch out of that Mega Gengar the first turn, he needed something safe, and these are the safest Pokemon he's got.
Absolutely. We're going to see the Gengar and Togekiss both stay asleep, so we're going to see some damage output. Thunderbolt onto the Gengar. It is going to do a sizable amount, but leave it at 31, and Amoonguss just keeps clicking Spore because why not?
Yeah, I mean, what else is he going to do? Most likely only has Giga Drain for an attack. I can do big damage to either of these Pokemon, and I'm shocked at how fast these guys are moving.
Yes.
To me, this is one of the matches that are very complicated, right? When you have Shadow Tag involved, I think it becomes a very technical matchup where you want to be very careful not to click anything that is going to just lose you the game. But these guys have been pretty quick with it. They're just, they've been in this battle before, I think.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to see Gengar does stay asleep for another turn. The Rage Powder coming out from Amoonguss just in case anyone does decide to wake up and want to do damage. Togekiss is going to wake up and get an Air Slash off on that Amoonguss. We're going to see just how much damage it does. It's going to do a good amount, but not enough to pick up the knockout, and a Thunderbolt is going to connect on Gengar, kind of finishing that thing off. Shadow Tag is no longer a problem for Wolfe, so that was an excellent turn for Wolfe.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the most important Pokemon on the team to knock out. Not only is it the Mega Pokemon, but that Shadow Tag is just a huge problem for Wolfe. It's a great way to prevent his poor Kangaskhan from doing anything, as well as just to control the match. And Wolfe is in pretty nice position now, sort of. But now we're in another situation. We saw that Thunderbolt alone isn't enough to knock out Azumarill after a Belly Drum. And an Air Slash and a Belly Drum gets Wolfe back in the same position he was in last game, but without Amoonguss to help him this time.
Exactly, and we did see the taunt did wear off. Togekiss is, if he wants to go for the Follow Me Belly Drum combo again, he does. John has that option to do so. So as good as Wolfe feels right now being up a mon, this is definitely a dangerous field. It can go any way, and that's one of the most exciting things about Pokemon.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough game to close, though, because there's that sleeping Lopunny in the back.
That is true. Amoonguss is going to switch out, which was perfect for Wolfe to get rid of that Shadow Tag, taking advantage of Amoonguss' Regenerator ability. Azumarill going to play it safe, go for Protect. So we've seen 3 of Azumarill's moves now. Thundurus is going to go for the taunt on that Togekiss, making sure that we can't see any Follow Me business. Air Slash is going to come through on the Kangaskhan. As we saw last time, it does a good amount because Kangaskhan doesn't have any extra stuff from not being Mega Evolved.
Yeah, absolutely. So, pretty safe turn by John this time. He doesn't want to risk anything happening, and that's kind of what happens sometimes when you fall down in a series like this. He could have gotten a belly drum up there for no real cost, but the problem, I guess, is we were in a situation like this. If you make one big mistake, that's the round, and then he's going to need to win out to make top cut. Wolfe, on the other hand, he's got this advantage. He can play a little bit looser now. He's got a big lead in this game. One big play is going to send him back to 5-1, and his one loss was Aaron Zhang, so there's no shame in that.
Yeah, there's no shame in losing to Aaron Zhang, getting paired up. I believe that was in round 4. I believe it was round 4, round 3, round 4, and it looks like that we're going to see the Mega Kangaskhan come out here with Azumarill using Protect last turn. It's unlikely that John's going to go for double Protect. We'll find out exactly what he wants to do here. Togekiss cannot do anything but attack. Aqua Jet's going to come through and connect on the Thundurus, just barely missing the knockout. Kangaskhan's going to get a return off on the Azumarill, and it's going to do over half, popping the Citrus. Does that mean that because of that Citrus, a Thunderbolt will not take it out? We're going to have to find out right now if Wolfe... Oh, no, we got the double hit, of course, from Mega Kangaskhan with that Parental Bond ability. Going ahead and making it hit twice. Kangaskhan's going to take another 30% from that Togekiss, but the Thunderbolt's going to come through on the Azumarill, and it's going to knock it out.
Yeah, that's big. The last really remaining offensive threat on John's team. And kind of a struggle when you play a team like John's. If this is the sort of thing that sounds fun to use as a player, you can be very careful with your offensive Pokemon. In this case, kind of Gengar and Azumarill being the Pokemon that can really dish out the damage since Lopunny can't Mega Evolve. If you give them up too easily, you kind of end up in a situation like this one where, the game should still be winnable, but how are you going to knock Pokemon out?
Now, as you were saying before, Wolfe plays a game where he tries to both slow down his opponent and put himself in a better position. So we're going to see the Landers come out, once again, making sure that even though Lopunny can't Mega Evolve, just reducing its attack stat even further, so a Fake Out wouldn't be a big deal, or whatever it decides to go for won't do as much damage as it would have before. We're going to see Kangaskhan just go for a Protect here, Wolfe playing it extremely safe. That's just the way Wolfe plays, creating better scenarios. We're going to see a Fake Out connect on the Landers slot, not doing too much thanks to that Intimidate, and an Air Slash is going to be protected, keeping that Mega Kangaskhan around another turn.
Now, the bright side for John, Togekiss taunt finally wears off. I feel like I've been taunted for about 60 turns this match. It's just like, Togekiss is firing those air slashes. Like, he doesn't care about follow me. It's not a support Pokemon anymore. Togekiss hungers for knockouts.
It wants to pick up the KOs.
Yeah, unfortunately, it might have the chance here, but it's just kind of a matter of what cost of that knockout could come at. If Lander starts firing off Rock Slides here, it's going to be pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
Kangaskhan, even if all he gets is a Sucker Punch, could take Lopunny pretty low. And John, he's just so far behind. You've got to try to find a way to get knockouts without taking damage. But with spread moves and Landorus, with priority move from Kangaskhan, it's tough. And in true Wolfe fashion, he's not going to risk it.
Yeah, he's not. Wolfe's just like, I have priority, but you know what? Priority is not guaranteed. So I'm going to go ahead and switch out into my Amoonguss. Togekiss does go for the follow me. I'm sure we're going to see, like you said, the spread move, of course, is going to hit both Pokemon regardless. So Togekiss is going to take a sizable amount of damage because it is super effective, almost 50%, around 40%. And Lopunny's going to bust out that Teeter Dance. It's going to start dancing the way that John showed it how to dance. Is that going to have an effect? Can John pull back with confusion?
I think that's really the only way he can do it, right? Kind of a wise play by Wolfe to avoid playing with these odds too much, but he's going to have to make some rolls here. Of course, Wolfe not using his priority attacks, which I guess wouldn't have worked on either of these, and I guess either way, Wolfe's priority is switching, right?
Yes.
That's the way he plays the game, so it makes sense here, but part of the difficulty for John is not only does he need to, he needs this win, but he has to get at least 2 knockouts, and Togekiss, not exactly a ferocious damage dealer.
As much as it wants to deal damage
it's
right
trying
now.
so hard.
It really is.
And Lopunny, without the Mega Evolution, not going to do a huge amount of damage either. So you see the clock ticking down. Wolfe wisely not making more moves than he needs to. Knows this advantage. Even if Teeter Dance prevents him from knocking out the 2 remaining Pokemon on John's side, he can win this game 3-2. He can win this game 4-2. The clock keeps tipping down, so John's have to be very opportunistic with his offense here.
Absolutely. We're going to see Wolfe go ahead and preserve that Landorus yet again, switching into the Kangaskhan. He pulls a double switch, taking advantage of Amoonguss' Regenerator ability. We can see something we had not mentioned yet is the battle timer. We're sitting at almost 4 minutes. A Drain Punch is going to connect on the Kangaskhan. Not going to be able to pick up the knockout thanks to that Intimidate that happened prior. Lopunny's going to recover a little bit of HP, but nothing crazy here. Togekiss is confused because of that Teeter Dance, but it danced with John as well, so we're going to see an Air Slash go ahead and just miss picking up the knockout on Thundurus.
Oh my gosh, this would be such a frustrating turn if you're John. You're like, finally, I'm going to get my 2 attacks off, I'm going to pick up my knockouts, I'm going to tie the game, and neither Kangaskhan nor Thundurus actually go down. That Intimidate on Lopunny is paying some dividends here, and we kind of see the problem with the non-Mega Lopunny. Decisively not a fighting-type Pokemon, which reduces the damage of the already somewhat weak Drain Punch.
Absolutely. You know, that same type attack bonus is something necessary that Lopunny does take advantage of when it Mega Evolves. But besides that, it's just one of those Pokemon that you do get put in a situation where the Mega Gengar was the right call, but it suffers so much from not getting that Mega Evolution.
Yeah, absolutely. And now it's tough. You know, Wolfe probably going to protect the Kangaskhan, maybe make a switch here. You know, the amount of turns left where John can realistically get something done being reduced, and even Thundurus has Protect.
Thundurus has Protect as well, so Wolfe is just playing the slow game right now, being as safe as possible. And you know what? He's a trainer that has won a lot. He has a lot of accolades under his belt, so he's doing something right, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've played Wolfe at Worlds, and I think between the games I played against him, we knocked out like 3 Pokemon. So Wolfe is a master at this series. That would have been 2012, a year where he got 2nd place at Worlds. He's a 2-time national champion. No one does this better than him. And he's in great shape now. He's going to probably withdraw both Pokemon. These are the 2 Pokemon John could have knocked out. He's got healthier Pokemon in the back.
Yep.
The Regenerate from Mungus doing serious work here.
Definitely. Togekiss is actually a little frightened, backed into a corner, goes for the Protect, as Thundurus goes for the taunt on the Togekiss, so that was a good call, and the Teeter Dance is going to come back out. You know, Lopunny just loves dancing, even if it's at the end of the game, you know, feels down and out. Dancing will bring up your spirits so fast.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, John might need to win out, but Lopunny's still having a party, and, you know, it's good to know that, you know, John's not letting anything get him down. I think that what's one of the weaknesses we're seeing of Teeter Dance, though, is that, you know, John keeps having to protect Togekiss to avoid being confused. You know, it's like Earthquake, not like Heat Wave, where it hits all of the Pokemon. So Togekiss does need to protect to avoid being confused itself. And that just really makes this timer even more difficult for John to overcome, because it keeps burning Togekiss turns. You know, it couldn't Air Slash that switch in on Mungus unless he wanted to give up the ability to Teeter Dance.
And he's not going to let that Thundurus go down just yet, even though I think it has maybe 3 or 4 hit points left. Landorus, who is extremely healthy, is going to come back in, and I'm pretty sure this is just going to secure the victory for Wolfe at this point. He's got 2 extremely healthy Pokemon on the field. Lopunny's been intimidated so many times. I'm glad it keeps dancing even when it's intimidated. We can see just how little that Drain Punch does to the Landorus. And Togekiss here not going for the Protect, so most likely going to go for the Air Slash. We're going to see it connect on the Amoonguss, which of course, because it's super effective, is going to do a good amount of damage, but not enough. Amoonguss is confused. Will it hit itself in Confusion? It is going to hit itself in Confusion, bringing its HP down even further.
Yeah, John gets some big damage there, but he's running out of turns. You know, Amoonguss at least can go for a Protect. It's not guaranteed to hit it, but John needs to knock out both of these Pokemon to have a shot at winning this game. This will likely be the last turn. If Wolfe does lose a Pokemon here, he'll get 45 seconds again to move and select that last Pokemon.
Yep.
And Amoonguss could viably go down. You can see a Confusion self-hit and an Air Slash, but unless Lopunny has, you know, like an ice gun, it's been hiding. He's gonna like bust that out.
Well, pull a Mr. Freeze from Batman.
That's what he's gonna need here. I think John might be in a bit of trouble otherwise.
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't think it has any pockets where it could possibly keep that ice gun. So we're gonna see the Amoonguss actually take more advantage, because it wants to recover that HP thanks to the Regenerator ability that we've seen used so many times by Wolfe. Superpower is gonna connect on the Lopunny. It's not gonna be able to take that even a little bit. So officially, Wolfe goes ahead and makes this a 4-1 situation, which with the battle timer running out, he's clinched this match out. Air Slash is going to come through, though, and take out the Thundurus, so it is 3-1 right now. But I think Wolfe you saw both players shake hands, and that pretty much means good game.
Yeah, absolutely. That clock kicking down 5, 4, and will go down eventually to 0. Really well-played game by Wolfe here. Wolfe doing what Wolfe does best.
Absolutely.
Winning, but winning slowly.
No, without a doubt, Wolfe, I mean, he is a lone wolf. He's up here by himself, just him and his pack of Pokemon, deciding what he's got to do, and he hunts slow, but he hunts well.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get his prey in this one. Really, really impressive victory, and Wolfe Glick moves on to 5-1.
5-1, which means that John is now 4-2. Good luck, John. Win out the rest of the tournament, and we'll see you tomorrow as well, but that is a feat that's a little bit tough with the pressure being laid on now.